I'm finally breaking ground on my dream custom home build that I'm building myself as an owner builder, acting as my own general contractor. And in 6 months, this thing will be done and I'll be moved into it. But in this video, we're doing all the site prep to start developing this raw piece of land, this 1 acre tract of land that I purchased. So we're gonna be installing the culvert, knocking down the trees, building the dirt pad, installing the temporary electric pole, and much more. Let's get in the video. All right, y'all, so before we get any further into the video, let me show you exactly what this finished property is gonna look like in just 4 or 5 months from now. So that is what the finished product of this project is gonna look like in hopefully just about 4 months, if that is possible for someone building their third home. So I'm super excited to take on the challenge of transforming this blank, empty piece of raw land into what you just saw in that video, which is obviously a really cool looking property. So by the way, they did an incredible job on the visualizations and the renderings in that video you just saw, where they transformed my 2D paper blueprints into a 3D in color model. That way we could really see what our future home is going to look like. So I highly recommend to anyone looking for that rendering and visualization service to go check them out. I will put their contact information down in the description. So as you can see behind me, we're doing some dirt work, but before I talk about that, let me give you a little recap. So it's actually day 15 of this project. On day 1 and day 2 and a little bit of day 3, we did the first part of the site prep, which was installing the culvert. This is where we brought in 4 pieces of this concrete pipe. We set it in the bar ditch, got it level. We connected all the pieces with the gaskets in between, and then we covered it with dirt and sand. And that keeps the pipe stabilized and keeps it from moving and disconnecting in the future, as well as allows water to continue to drain down the bar ditch, because that is, of course, the purpose of a bar ditch. And then it gives us vehicle access to the job site. So that was step 1 of the site prep. Next, we knocked down 2 trees that happened to fall right here in the center of the future driveway. So we didn't just knock them down. We started by digging up the root system around the tree with a track hoe, and then we used the machine to push them over and knock them down. And then a truck and trailer showed up with a chainsaw. We cut them into more manageable pieces. Then we used the track hoe to grab them, take them over to the trailer, drop them in there, and haul them out of here. And then right after that, we started on scraping the lot. On my specific building plans, it says we needed to scrape the top 6 inches of topsoil and debris out from under the future pad. And you probably are wondering, why do you need to do that? Well, good question. I'll tell you exactly why. So before I started this project, I got a soil sample where they came out and they dug down 18 to 20 feet and they took samples of all the soil, sent it off to a lab and got it tested to test, well, I don't know, I'm not a geotechnical engineer, but they tested it to see what kind of dirt I had. I provided that soil sample to my engineer and he specified the requirements for the dirt work as well as the foundation for this home build. Well, he specified that I have to remove the top 6 inches of topsoil out from under my future pad. So we started off by scraping the lot. We removed that 6 inches, and along with that 6 inches of topsoil came all kinds of debris and vegetation and grass, as well as old root systems that were right below the surface. And it's very important that we remove all of that vegetation and all those root systems because you do not want those under the foundation of your house, because over time, all that debris and vegetation and root systems will just break down and decay and decompose and turn to dust, essentially, which is going to create holes below the foundation. It's going to cause erosion below the foundation, and of course that's just going to cause problems for the foundation. So after we scraped the entire lot and had it fully ready to start bringing in dirt, I got hit with a fat 8-day rain delay. It rained like 5 to 7 inches, and it rained like 4 or 5 days. So not only did we have to wait for it to stop raining, we had to wait another 3 or 4 days for everything to completely dry out, because of course you can't really do dirt work in the mud when it's wet. You'll get all these machines stuck. So after everything dried out, we were able to start bringing in all the loads of dirt and start building the pad. Here for my project, I have to build a about 2 foot deep dirt pad, and I have to build it that deep to ensure proper drainage, of course, make sure everything drains away from the foundation, but also I have to build the finished floor of my house level with the elevation of the street. So we're gonna go like an inch or two above the elevation of the street, and I have to meet that requirement because that is what the community requires for the finished floor of my house. So now is day 15. We're building the pad for the house. Let's get it done.
So, day 23 of the build, and we're still building this freaking dirt pad. I know that when I was scheduling this project, I thought that the site prep, which consisted of the culvert, knocking down the trees, and building this pad, would be finished after about 10 to 12 days. And here we are, day 23. Still probably have a day left. So that is construction for you. I thought it'd be done in 12 days, and it looks like it's gonna be taking 24 days. So yeah, at least we're getting it done. We have had probably 8 to 10 days already worth of rain delays, because I'll get further into the reasons for the delays when I get in my truck here in a second. But let me just show you what this pad looks like right now, and then I'm going to get in the truck and go to another location and show you where I'm purchasing the dirt from that is allowing me to save over $5,000 on this pad build. So here's what it looks like right now though. We've got everything to the right elevation for the most part, and he is using the roller to get everything compacted down. And you look at that machine and at least I think that thing is not very big. How can that really do any kind of compacting? But it has some kind of vibrating mechanism on that front arm that has the roller, and it just freaking vibrates really hard. I bet if I stay in the camera close to it, you can probably feel it. Let's see. I don't know if you can feel it, but let's see if you can see it on the wheel. Anyways, I don't know if you could really tell anything, but the roller actually vibrates really hard. So I'm not necessarily sure if it's the weight of the machine that does the compacting. I think it's more so the vibrating mechanism that kind of vibrates the dirt down real hard. So this is what the finished product looks like after it does all of the compacting. The thing has a bunch of little heads on it, and it leaves a bunch of holes in there. Anyways, I don't know the science behind the compaction, so I'm not gonna get into all that. But we're getting it compacted, and then tomorrow they should be able to do the rough grade, get the edges all cleaned up, nice and pretty, do any kind of filling in where is needed to make sure everything is perfectly level. And then we need to install the temporary driveway, which is gonna be crushed concrete where the future driveway is gonna go. So my material suppliers have a place to set all their material when they deliver, as well as subcontractors have somewhere to park, so we're not parking on the street. I'm out of breath, and it's probably because I've been laying in bed for the past 4 or 5 days with strep throat, and I haven't moved a muscle, so I apologize for that. But anyways, let me get in the truck, and we're gonna go to the location that I'm purchasing this dirt, and it's saving me over $5,000. Let's get in the truck. Fuck. Okay, so on this little short 5-minute truck ride to the job site of where I'm getting this dirt from, I'm gonna tell you where I'm getting the dirt from and why, and then I'm also gonna tell you why it's kind of caused me some delays and some problems on the first 23 days of this home build. So, a couple weeks ago, I started reaching out to all of the site prep subcontractors, which again, the site prep consists of the culvert, the knocking down the trees and getting those out of here, and then pretty much just building the dirt pad and installing the temporary driveway. We're just gonna refer to those subcontractors as site prep subcontractors for this segment of the video. So a couple weeks ago, before I started the build, I started reaching out to all of my contacts for site prep subcontractors to get bids on this project. And I also took the time to go out and try to find new ones to just make sure that I was getting the best bang for my buck. I was getting the best price I could. So I get maybe 4 or 5 bids on the site prep, and they were all coming back anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000. And throughout the process, I happened to meet one guy, and he gave me a bid, and his price was like $35,000. But he told me, hey, if you can give me just a couple weeks, I might be able to give you a lot better deal because I'm digging a really big retention pond just a couple miles away from your job. And he said, if we can test that dirt to see if it's good select fill material, then we can use that material to build the pad for your house. So I said, hey, that sounds great. So he sent me a picture of a little hole he dug in the ground, and then a lab came out to that site, and they took a sample and they tested those samples in their lab. And after about a week, he sends me the paperwork and said, hey, this dirt is good material to use. So just to double check, I even called the lab off the paperwork and said, hey, can you tell me about this dirt? And he said, it is good select fill material. You can use it to build the pad for your house. I said, okay, sounds great. So then I got back with the subcontractor, and he sent me a new estimate, which decreased from his original bid down to $25,900. So I know the going rate for a truckload of select fill material in my area is about $150 per load. So on his original estimate, he was going to charge me $150 per truckload of select fill. Well, now that we found out we could use the dirt from this site that we're headed to, he lowered that line item from $150 to $90 per truckload, which saves me $60 per truckload, which may not sound like that much, but whenever you multiply it to 100 truckloads, that's around $6,000 off of the total invoice. So I decided to take him up on this offer. I felt like it was a good value, and I wanted to save $6,000 on the site prep for my home build. So I gave him the green light, and it has caused me to kind of take twice as long. And it's not entirely his fault, because we have had at least 2 rains that I can recall that have caused anywhere from 8 to 10 days worth of delays. So it's not really his fault. But I will say, if I were to have ordered this dirt from a normal operating dirt supplier company that has their pits and their equipment and their trucks, you know, they could have delivered all this dirt to my job site in the matter of probably 2 days, maybe even less, maybe 1 day. They could have delivered 100 truckloads of dirt to my job site in 1 day. Where this guy, I didn't really think about this, but he can only deliver the dirt as fast as he digs it from the job site. So as he's digging the dirt that you're about to see, as he's digging this dirt with the excavator, he then has to load it into a truck, and then the truck has to drive it over here and dump it out, and then drive all the way back to the job site where he gets reloaded by the excavator. And another problem is the subcontractor that I hired is not in the trucking business. So he had to subcontract out a trucking company throughout this 2 or 3 week project to deliver the dirt from the pit it is getting dug out of to my job site, which has also caused some delays from all that coordination. So anyways, I'm pulling up to this job site now, and oh my shit, about got rear-ended. So okay, so anyways, I'm pulling into the job site now to show you exactly where I'm getting this dirt from. Okay, so here is the site where they're digging this really big pond, and I assume these guys drive back here, so hopefully I don't get stuck in my new truck. I wonder what's going on here. Surely that's not the big pond they're talking about. I'm probably not even supposed to be out here. So anyways, I think the big pond looks like right here. So I'm gonna stop right here and let's get out of the truck and look at it. Oh yeah, there's a pond. Don't look that big. All right, so this appears to be the pond, but it does not look entirely too big. But this site right here looks to be 2 or 3 acres, and they've been doing a bunch of dirt work out here. So I'm sure they've been getting a bunch of the dirt from out here where they've been working, as well as here in this pond, which apparently is going to be a little retention pond for some sort of development. So anyways, this is how I'm saving $6,000, $7,000 on my site prep, which I think was a good decision. It's just cost me twice as long to finish the site prep. So tomorrow will be the last day. We'll pick it up then. at the job site. Now it's day 31 of the build, and finally, after 31 days of playing in the mud, the site prep is complete, which consisted of installing the culvert, knocking down and clearing and hauling away 2 or 3 trees, and then building this huge, probably like 7,000 square foot dirt pad. And I say 7,000 square feet because it includes the 2,000 square foot driveway. It includes the 5,000 square foot house footprint. It also probably includes about 2,000 square foot in the back for the pool and the deck, and then extra around the house. So a massive dirt pad build, fully complete after 31 days. It's crazy to think that after, I guess at this point in my last home build that I finished in 60 days, at this point, day 31 of my last home build, I already had the dirt work and site prep finished. I had the concrete foundation finished. I already had the house framed, and I think I was started on the siding and the windows and the exterior doors. And here I am 31 days through this project, and yeah, it is a little bit bigger, but I just have the dirt work finished. So it's a little disappointing, but I know it is a bigger project, as well as I worked with a new contractor for this part of the build who was, I guess, he was enjoyable to work with, but he was a little bit too slow for my liking. So I probably won't be working with him in the future unless I need his equipment power, because he does have quite the, what do you call it? Fleet of equipment. So anyways, as well as I did have probably 10 to 12 days worth of rain delays through this part of the build already, and it's kind of hard to do the dirt work in the mud. So therefore we probably had 10 to 12 days worth of exact delays, and it realistically only took us like 20 days to finish it. Anyways, day 31, this part of the build is finished. And right here you can see I have some material delivered for the next part of the build, which is of course going to be the concrete slab on grade foundation. You can see a bunch of rebar right here. And I had 2 choices for the foundation for this project, and that was either a traditional rebar concrete slab on grade foundation or a post tension concrete foundation. And you can see clearly I have a bunch of rebar here, so I'm going with the traditional rebar foundation. I am paying a little bit more, but I'll get into that in the next video. So we got that material here, as well as back here behind me, we got the forms delivered. I just have them tarped up right now because we're supposed to get some rain today, tonight, tomorrow. And I'm trying to protect this material actually a little more than I need to. Forms aren't that big of a deal to protect, but I'm trying to protect it a little extra because I'm gonna try to use a cost-saving technique by using these forms whenever we frame the house for some of the headers in the house. So if I'm able to pull that off, I think I might be able to save, I don't know, maybe $1,000, give or take, on the framing lumber. Okay, so now for the cost of the site prep, I'll pop up the invoice on the screen so you can see exactly what I'm looking at. But the concrete culvert material was $2,400. The concrete culvert installation with 8-inch thick layer of select fill, $1,200. The build pad labor was the labor to build the pad, as well as that included the compaction test, $3,200. Next we have the lot scrape, where we scraped 6 inches, was $1,000. The dirt delivery for the house pad, 120 loads, $10,800. Temporary driveway, the labor for the temporary driveway was $1,200. And then crushed concrete was the material for the temporary driveway, and that included 2 loads for $2,400. Then we had the tree removal, where we knocked down 2 trees, $700. And then trash haul off, $500, where we cut up those trees and put them in a trailer and hauled them out. $1,800 for the dirt material to build up the driveway. And then lastly, rough grade of $700 to do a rough grade all the way around the house to keep it, I guess, good positive drainage throughout the rest of the build. And then of course, whenever the house is finished, I have to do the final grade. So that was the cost for the site prep, and I'll go ahead and pop up on the screen exactly how much this project has cost me up to this point in the build. It will be the site prep plus the building plans and some other costs I've already incurred. I'll pop that up on the screen right now. So if you're interested in building your own house, like I'm building my own house here, and like I built my first 2 rental properties, then I'm gonna put a link in the description. You should go click it. It is the link to my digital course where I teach people just like myself, regular people, how to build their own houses, whether you want to build houses to rent, build houses to sell, or build your dream home to go live in. So go check out my digital course where I've already uploaded probably 80 to 100 exclusive videos pertaining to this project, teaching people how to build their own house. Thanks for watching.